Hey everybody, it's Spicy Kai. Today I want to talk to you about the Ahmaud Arbery story. We'll start off going through the timeline of what happened that day, and then we'll detail exactly what happened to the horrible three men that took his life. But before we get started, I want you to go ahead and hit that like button for me. And if you're new to my channel, be sure to hit subscribe. And don't forget to click all notifications so you'll get notified every time I drop a new video. Now let's get to the content.
The lead investigator in the death of Ahmaud Arbery took the stand in Thursday's preliminary hearing. Between 911 logs, home surveillance video, witness statements, and cell phone video from one of the defendants, he says his team with the GBI was able to piece together what happened to the 25-year-old that day. Surveillance video from across the street obtained by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution shows the house under construction. Around 1:04 in the afternoon, you see Ahmaud Arbery go into the house. Motion-sensitive cameras inside the house capture Arbery wandering around, walk out, and then go behind the home. In the video around 1:08, you see a neighbor walk in front of 219 Satilla and call police.
There's a guy in the house right now. It's a house under construction.
And you said someone's breaking into it right now?
No, it's all open. It's under construction.
30 seconds into the call, he tells the dispatcher Arbery is now running down the street.
And he's running right now. There he goes right now.
Okay, what is he doing?
He's running down the street.
The lead investigator on the case said further down Satilla Road, Greg McMichael was standing in his yard when he says Ahmaud Arbery ran past their home. According to police reports, McMichael said he and his son got their guns, got in their truck, and drove down Satilla Drive toward Burford Drive to pursue Arbery. When they reached the intersection of homes in Satilla Drive, the senior McMichael says they saw Arbery running down a street called Burford Drive. According to the lead investigator, the McMichaels catch up with Arbery and yell for him to stop. The other suspect in the case, Roddie Bryan, is outside his house at 307 Burford Road at this point, when Arbery and a truck he recognizes from the neighborhood passes his home on Burford.
So then he yells, "You got him." He doesn't get a response. Mr. Bryan, according to his statement, then goes into his residence, gets the keys to his truck, comes out and cranks up his truck with the intention of assisting in the pursuit.
At this point, investigators say Greg McMichael got out of his truck to confront Arbery. Arbery is running back towards Satilla, which would lead him right out of the neighborhood.
According to Greg McMichael and Travis McMichael's statement, Greg McMichael comes back to Travis McMichael's truck and tells him, go back, back up, trying to encourage Travis McMichael to back the vehicle up and engage Mr. Arbery.
It's at this point Roddie Bryan pulls out of his driveway onto the road to block Ahmaud Arbery. Investigators say Arbery is able to go around the truck. It's also at this point that Greg McMichael goes back to the truck, gets into the bed of it, and Travis McMichael drive up Burford to Zellwood Drive. The lead investigators say they had the intention to loop around and catch back up with Arbery at the intersection of homes in Satilla. GBI investigators say at this point, Bryan admitted to trying to block Arbery several more times with his truck. Investigators say they also found evidence that at some point, Bryan hit Arbery with his truck.
At this point, Mr. Arbery is heading back the way he's come, which would lead him out of the Satilla Shores neighborhood. Mr. Bryan makes statements that he continues to try to block in Mr. Arbery. Mr. Arbery takes a right turn onto Holmes Road, and Mr. Bryan is actually overshoots him going Satilla.
Investigator Dial testified that Bryan remaneuvered his truck to follow Arbery down Holmes Road, but at some point Arbery stopped. Dial says Arbery saw the McMichael's truck turn off of Zellwood Drive onto Holmes Road and drive towards him.
So you got one vehicle coming one way down Holmes Road and another vehicle coming another way, and Mr. Arbery is in between them. So at some point, Mr. Arbery turns around and starts heading back towards Mr. Bryan.
According to Dial, Bryan made statements that Arbery turned around and ran past his truck, and then the McMichael's truck passed him, all going back towards Satilla Drive. At some point, the McMichaels got in front of Ahmaud Arbery, and Bryan turned his truck around too. It's at this point Investigator Dow says Roddie Bryan picked up his phone that had already been recording off of his seat and points it at the McMichael's truck. It's also at this point that Greg McMichael calls 911 for the first time.
The driver's side door is open. Travis McMichael is there. It is apparent to me he is holding a firearm. His arm is raised as it's in a pointed position at one point. Then then Mr. Arbery is running. He then apparently sees what Travis McMichael in front of him. Then he changes direction to go around the passenger side of the vehicle. Travis McMichael then moves from the driver's side, where he's actually standing. When you open the driver's side door, the door is at his back initially in the video, and he's got the shotgun. He then positions himself around the driver's side door towards the front of the truck. You see Mr. Arbery running alongside the passenger side. And again, you see Travis McMichael has repositioned himself along the front of the truck. Mr. Arbery then comes up to a position, sees Travis McMichael, then makes a decision and turns and decides to engage Travis McMichael. As he turns and goes towards Travis McMichael, you hear a shot. Then you see Travis McMichael moving backwards with Mr. Arbery. Obviously, they were engaged in a physical confrontation at this point. They go off the screen. You then hear a second shot where you see blood and spray into the screen, a mist of it. Then they come back in to the view of the camera. There, Mr. Arbery is striking Travis McMichael. There's a struggle going on, and then you see a third shot occur.
Months later in May, Roddie Bryan told police he heard Travis McMichael say something as Ahmaud Arbery laid on the ground, bleeding out.
After the shooting took place, before police arrival, while Mr. Arbery was on the ground, that he heard Travis McMichael make the statement.
I'm going to go ahead and address each one of these verdict forms separately. The first verdict form I have is the State of Georgia versus Travis McMichael. Mr. McMichael, please stand. Verdict is as follows. In the Superior Court of Glynn County, State of Georgia, the State of Georgia versus Travis McMichael, case number CR 000433. Jury verdict form. Count 1, malice murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. I'm going to ask that whoever just made it out first be removed from the court, please. As this court has indicated, I ask that there be no outbursts in the court, and I expect as much from the gallery. Please respect the court's desire for this as we move forward. If you feel like you need to make a comment or otherwise demonstrate with respect to the verdict, I do ask that you step out of the courtroom now. Count 2, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 3, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 4, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 5, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 6, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 7, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 8, false imprisonment. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 9, criminal attempt to commit a felony. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Dated this 24th day of November, 2021, signed by the foreperson. Have a seat. As to Gregory McMichael. In the Superior Court of Glynn County, the State of Georgia versus Greg McMichael, case number CR 20000433. Jury verdict form. Count 1, malice murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, not guilty. Count 2, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 3, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 4, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 5, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 6, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 7, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 8, false imprisonment. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 9, criminal attempt to commit a felony. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. This 24th day of November, 2021, signed by the foreperson. As to William R. Bryan. In the Superior Court of Glynn County, State of Georgia, State of Georgia versus William R. Bryan, case number CR 20000433. Jury verdict form. Count 1, malice murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, William R. Bryan, not guilty. Count 2, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, William R. Bryan, not guilty. Count 3, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, William R. Bryan, guilty. Count 4, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant William R. Bryan guilty. Count 5, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant William R. Bryan guilty. Count 6, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant William R. Bryan not guilty. Count 7, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant William R. Bryan guilty. Count 8, false imprisonment. We, the jury, find the defendant William R. Bryan guilty. Count 9, criminal attempt to commit a felony. We, the jury, find the defendant William R. Bryan guilty. Signed this 24th day of November by the foreperson.
Explain how the sentences today are different from the previous life sentences the men received just earlier this year.
The difference is that this is a federal conviction, federal sentencing, and they are already serving time, life in prison, in a state court. And what was unusual about this hearing today was that it was mostly about where they would serve these life sentences as opposed to how long the sentences would be. The defense was arguing strenuously that going to state prison, that being in state prison for these two defendants, for the McMichaels and for William Bryan for that matter, for all three of them, but we expect the argument to come later this afternoon, is that it's dangerous for them. It's life-threatening. Travis McMicheal's attorney said that him going to state prison was the equivalent of what she called a backdoor death penalty for him because there's so much hatred. She said there have been hundreds, thousands of threats directed against McMichael in state prison, and that if he goes there, he probably won't survive. For their part, the government said essentially that these defendants deserve no special treatment, regardless of who they are and regardless of what's happened. They should go to state prison, and the law says that the first entity to convict, in this case the state of Georgia, is where the prisoner serves their time. Ahmaud Arbery's family certainly wanted them to stay in state prison. They didn't want the defendants to be able to pick where they could go and be in the prison system of their choosing. Again, the basic difference is that the federal system is thought to be safer, more comfortable, if that's an appropriate word, than the state prison system. So that's what a lot of this argument was about today, and we expect more of that when we hear the sentencing hearing of Gregory McMichael this afternoon, and then William Roddie Bryan, the third man, later this afternoon as well.
So, Ron, despite the federal conviction, he will remain in state prison. Clarify that. And also, has the Arbery family, Ahmaud's family, have they reacted yet to this new sentence?
They haven't reacted yet. We expect to hear from them shortly. They're outside the courtroom now, taking a break between hearings. It's a grueling and very emotional day for them. Again, this case has been such a powerful case, such an emotional case for the family, for this community, for the country, for that matter, as well. To clarify, they are serving time. The McMichaels and William Bryan are serving time in state prison now, a life sentence. That's what they get. Bryan has the possibility of parole after a number of decades. Unlikely he will ever be paroled, however. That's the distinction. That's where they are now in state prison. They were trying to be moved to federal prison. The judge sentenced them to life in federal prison and refused to make the switch, which is what the defendants wanted and what the family did not want. So, again, the Arbery family is getting what they want out of this process. They're getting justice, I think they would say. But, of course, none of this brings their son back.
In my heart, I'm good right now. We finally have gotten justice for Ahmaud again. I know that Ahmaud is pleased with the work that we've done as a community. As we held together as a family, I know he's in heaven. He's pleased. And with that being said, I'm pleased as well.
Amen.
Being able to address Gregory McMichael again, as you did Travis, looking back at him, just tell us what that was like again. You specifically said you couldn't imagine ever going with your son to commit any type of crime, much less this.
I think by now Gregory has sat in the county jail for about 2 years and 2 months now. Greg has finally realized that he made a very bad decision in taking his son along to murder Ahmaud. And at this point, it is what it is. They did what they did, and now they have to pay for whatever they've done.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Spicey out.